Women who choose to show their skin are being un-African. I don't know if there's a word that means un-African, but they're being inauthentic to their African selves. I'm kind of scared to broach this subject because I think a lot of Africans have very strong opinions on this, and I think by starting this conversation we can kind of have an understanding about where the fashion industry stands in Africa and in Kenya in particular. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, learn how to grow and maximize your fashion business by clicking that subscription button, and don't forget the bell. Today I will be talking about something or of an opinion. Let's just discuss this and see how we can work together and fix our industry and kind of have some sort of consensus or agreement throughout the industry. Throughout my childhood, even throughout my life living back home in Kenya, there is this expectation that anything short or if exposing your skin is somehow immoral or immodest. Now, I understand where that's coming from because a lot of our families and a lot of our societies are religious, whether it's Muslim or whether it's Christian or Hindu or Buddhist, whatever you are in Kenya. There is some sort of code of dress that is considered modest or immodest. There's no argument about that, and that's not what this video is about. This video is about the idea within the African society what modesty is, and people saying women who choose to show their skin are being un-African. I don't know if there's a word that means un-African, but they're being inauthentic to their African selves. And when I hear this argument, I think about growing up, going to the village. I would go walk through homesteads, women sitting proudly outside with their chests bare, and not a person bats an eye because women's bodies are not sexualized in that way, in that setting. And so I think that showing skin, not to be malicious about it or anything, but is as African as anything out there. It's probably more African than the print cloth that people wear that call African clothing, which is Dutch. And I have a video for that, this video, and you can find that link in the description box below. The dress that people say or deemed to be African came from somewhere. The only authentic African dress that I've been exposed to, it involves some sort of state of nakedness, for lack of a better term. What I'm trying to say is, if my great-grandmother could walk around within her own homestead, within her society, without any top or with, bare bosomed, right? And she was deemed decent. She was a married woman, a mother, obviously I'm here. She did not see the need to cover up because her body was not shameful, one, and second, she wasn't feeling sexualized by other people. The San people of South Africa, still up to today, the Zulu, when you look at the ceremonies, the beautiful, beautiful ceremonies that they have, the women are mostly bare. Okay, so that idea that it is indecent for an African woman to show skin is not necessarily an African idea, but an idea introduced into the African society by some sort of religion and belief that is set in a religious setting. And this video is not to bash religion, it's not to bash those people who dress modestly or promote those people who don't. I'm just discussing the fact that in Africa our fashion is a little bit more complicated than most people realize. As African designers, as African fashion creatives, I think we need to think about how our idea of Africanness can coexist with the idea of modesty as it pertains to this new African society that we've built for ourselves post-colonization. Before colonization, we had our own moral campuses, our own ideas of what modesty meant. And so I don't think it's right for us to kind of judge other people or impose our thought or religion or creed on others who choose not to share or who do not share that same thought, belief, religious creed. So how, as designers, so the question is to like discuss how as designers we can kind of make a space where both of these dualities as Africans, both of these identities, where in society it should be acceptable for a woman not to be sexualized, and if they choose to live their Africanness, even whatever that means, and if it means walking in the middle of Nairobi still bare-chested because you're a Mijikenda woman and that's what people did, fine. If it means walking through the streets of Johannesburg and bare-chested because you are a Khoi woman or you're a Zulu woman, should that be acceptable? Can we have this discussion? And I don't know, I think it's an interesting topic. Maybe it's just me who thinks it is an interesting topic, but then I think fashion in Africa has come to this juncture where we have to carve out our own identity within the world of fashion, where we want to be careful not to just like borrow absolutely everything about what the African fashion is, because African fashion was really just being one with your environment. It was people making clothing out of bark, by weaving raffia, so sisal skirts, things like that. So I don't want our identity as Africans to be too focused on our reality after post-colonization and forget where we come from pre-colonization, which is a beautiful culture of color, of creativity, and I think it's a beautiful world that we still as designers need to explore. So if we can figure out how to exist in a world where we can be as African could be, and also carve out a space in the post-modern world or post-colonial world that is Africa, and marry our two identities, because we are at a very special stage where I think we are one of the youngest continents to kind of come into a world where everything is modernized, and now like a generation after me probably will have a complete disconnect with what Africa used to be. So designers, this is a challenge to you on how you guys can reimagine the African identity within fashion, where we can marry our pre-colonial identity, what it meant to be modest, what it meant to be beautiful, what it meant to be well dressed for an occasion versus being dressed for a casual setting. I'm sure our societies back then had these, different sorts of modification they would make to their dress depending on the occasion. So can we marry that part of our identity with our new identity as corporate executives, professionals, artists that we are today, post-colonization, post-religious influence, post-globalization, post-internet? Okay, so many posts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed hearing my ramble. Don't forget to give us a like so that YouTube knows to recommend this content to other people who enjoy African fashion topics.